Mike. Where are you at? Where are you at, Mike?
Where you at, son?
This is why we need like a little intro graphic to play with music and fireworks.
Oh, but I mean, that would actually be a great idea.
Yeah, no, maybe not the fireworks part, but everything else. Good day, Internet.
Good day, Internet.
Good day, Internet.
Good day, Internet.
Well, that's all we've got.
Yep.
Hope you had a good day.
Night,
See you
everybody.
later.
All right, we're off to lunch.
Had a here's an odd thing about my solar installation.
All right.
Had a meter reader show up today, and we haven't had meter readers in a long time because we had a smart meter, and the smart meter just broadcast your meter reading over Wi-Fi or probably over like 3G or something to the power company. But the guy came and knocked on the door. He's like, "I see you have dogs. Want to make sure they're out of the yard. I got to read the meter." I was like, "Oh, okay. Is this just because of the new solar installation?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "But I'll have to keep coming back every month because the new solar meters don't have the wireless built in."
What?
And I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." He kind of looked like, "Yeah, I know what you mean, man." I was like, "Oh." He's like, "So yeah, they're gonna upgrade them at some point, but right now, they don't." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll keep the dogs away from you. Don't worry about it, man."
That's one step forward, one step back kind of business there. That's
Right. It's like, "Oh, you got the more advanced power system? Well, then your meter has to be read by hand now."
That's weird.
I know. Felt bad for the guy. Like, sorry, man.
Well, he has so yeah, that just means not only does he have the checking thing, but whoever is managing that has to also come out and swap them out when they do upgrade it, right? Like,
Well, yeah, now that I didn't press him on whether it could be like a firmware update situation,
Right.
or if they had to swap out a whole new meter, because that's a lot more costly if they have to swap out a whole new meter. I hope it's just they can do a software update.
Oh, it doesn't, but it has a wireless component hardware.
That I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it does or not. I just assumed it did because it's got a digital interface and it can read the incoming as well as the outgoing, which is the whole reason I needed a new meter, is to read the fact that I was putting power into the grid.
Yeah.
I would assume that a modern would have a modem built in, and it is digital, right? It's I don't know.
It's 2019 after all. One might expect.
Not for long, Scott.
I know.
No,
This is a weird
indeed.
year. Let's go. Let's get past it. I'm ready.
We've got less than 4 months left in this year. Can you believe it?
I'm
God.
finally getting to the point where, because we often talk about, this, new laptop's coming in 2020. It sounded like a long time away, even at the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, no, it's 2020.
2020 is when all the good stuff comes, right, Scott?
Yeah, that's what I was told. Always told that.
It's a paradise world in 2020.
Well, thank goodness. I think we all need a
Yeah.
little paradise.
I want Barbara. I shared this on Facebook, but when they do New Year's, there's this whole meme about getting Barbara Walters to do the countdown, and she says, "Hi," I'm like, "I'm Barbara Walters, and this is 2020."
Oh, wow.
And 30 of us will laugh hilariously because we're the ones who get that joke.
No, I think a broad swath of people in our
I think
age
people
group
would
get it.
understand.
Generally, people over 40 probably would get it.
Speaking of shows that people over 40 watch, I don't know if anybody watches Dateline regularly.
Not anymore.
I don't, but I would catch it if it was interesting.
I'm
here
sure
and there.
someone does. You
Yeah,
said, I
I'm
don't know
sure
anyone.
lots of people do because it's on the air. But
Yeah.
I was, I think I was at an airport or was something recently where I was watching, just mindlessly watching TV, and it was a Dateline promo, and it was like, "Dateline Friday night, #don't watch it alone."
Nice.
And I was like, what?
So Dateline hasn't changed. That's good to know.
But it sounded so much more like a ghost story than an
Yeah.
investigation.
Well, a lot of those Dateline episodes are kind of geared in a very, ever since Serial, Serial, a lot of those shows have kind of tried to mimic that format.
Yeah, but at least in the case of Serial, it's very straightforward and serious. Yeah, they don't play up that.
I was going to say, Dateline always was kind of clickbaity before clickbait was a thing.
But
Yeah.
just remember, Tom, the answer may surprise you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, David Prager.
Oh my
That was
gosh.
my line before it was David's. He just came
It was
in.
neither of yours, really.
Well, no, we stole it from
really,
Dateline.
yeah.
You stole my stolen line. Yeah, I kind of looked at it like, all right, Dateline's, they've figured out a marketing hashtag.
What could objects around your household kill you? Tune in and find out.
Don't watch it alone.
Can
The answer
children
is no,
reduce?
They won't.
It will terrify you.
Can children raise your stress levels? Find out.
Are your children killing you?
Softly.
Yeah. Have they already done it? Are you dead now?
Are you dead and don't know it?
Are
Tune
you
in
watching this from beyond the grave?
The answer may surprise you. Yeah, it sounds like local news. Like it's a local news tactic.
Yeah.
National news.
Oh yeah.
Annoys me because I just go, really, we're gonna do this on a national level. I'm used to it at home, but come on.
But that was like on a national level for like 30 years.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't watch the news anymore.
Like ever since I can think, I personally blame it up to when they started launching when they started cable news networks. A lot of the broadcast networks needed to flash up their offerings, and so they had shows like Primetime Live that were a little more. I don't want to say tabloidy, but they were definitely more like you're in the checkout aisle and you see the headline that makes you grab the Inquirer. Or
That would be tabloidy. Then.
Yeah, I would say it's
I know you don't want to say it, but that's pretty much what you're saying, and I think it's fair. Hey, thanks to Creative Vast Arts, who subscribed with Twitch Prime for 2 months now. Yay!
Nice.
And all the kids that listen to the show have no idea what we're talking about. Tabloids.
Oh,
Broadcast
Twitch
TV.
Prime. They know what that is.
Primetime Live.
Yeah. They know what tabloids are. It's just online.
Yeah.
It's like me talking about
Why are they
Dick
called
Van Dyke.
tabloids?
Yeah.
Why are they called albums?
Well-
Why is there a little vending machine for the save icon?
My favorite of this year is that vending machine save icon thing.
A tabloid is a size, isn't it? And that's
I actually don't. I've never thought about it.
From what I
Yeah,
understand,
it's-
tabloid is like back in Britain, it was a printing
good question.
page size.
No, it 100% is that. I have to do stuff in InDesign all the time, and one of the default size things, all the way back to my PageMaker days, was tabloid. It's a very specific size.
But what is
Interesting.
the etymology of it? We haven't done a good etymology in it.
There was
that's a good
there was
idea.
a Roman guy who went around yelling salacious things.
The proprietary name of a medicine sold in tablets.
Ah.
The term came to denote any small medicinal tablet. A
Okay.
tabloid.
Is that like a tablet for
How did we get
hemorrhoids?
from there to...
Have something to do with like celluloid, tabloid.
Oh, my tabloid really hurt.
Yeah.
It was then used to figuratively mean a compressed form or dose of anything, hence tabloid journalism.
So this
And the newspapers
started out as
that
quick
typify.
hits.
So instead
Called
of quick
having
hits,
called for having short, condensed news articles and for being small in size, which is counterintuitive because the tabloids are usually the big ones.
Yeah,
Well,
no, I was gonna say that's one of the bigger formats. If I go make a new document and I want to do tabloid, it's bigger than everything else.
so if we call instead of Daily Tech headlines, you just call it Daily Tabloid
Well, I think
Tech.
it came from
because-
something that
because
was there wasn't a lot of substance, so it was
The old
smaller.
the old broadsheets were really wide
Big.
and folded over,
Yeah.
right? And so when you open them up, they would be bigger than tabloids, which are kind of book form.
You're right. Now it's just a relative oddity that they're actually bigger than any other printed stuff these days,
Well,
including
they're not really anymore.
But I guess they're technically not. Tabloids aren't technically bigger than a normal fold-over broadsheet.
No,
right.
So
But
that
they,
makes
I think
I don't
it-
even think
funny,
the
though, 'cause we
Inquirer
think
is
of them as
anymore.
big, not as small.
as far as its pejorative use, I think that just came from what tabloids became known for.
Well, it's
which
because
was,
they were cheaper to make print than big
So
ones.
this is great. I had no idea. Small tablet of medicine starts being used for like anything, like we do. Like, oh, it's like a tabloid version, like we would call miniature, like any kind of miniature thing. If it was
Miniature.
today, we'd look at the new Nintendo NES miniature mini and go, oh, it's a tabloid NES.
right.
And then that was applied to these new formats that had small news articles that were compressed, and it was easier to hold than the broadsheets. And
Tabloid
like,
wrestling.
it's like tabloid journalism. Wow.
Mhm.
That's so funny.
That's pretty interesting. Well, what I want to know is when do they decide that size would denote? Because there is a specific tabloid size that is.
Yeah, at some
say
point
that.
that's standardized, right? And then
Yeah.
it became the tabloid size.
If you say that out loud, somebody says, "What's the format?" Tabloid. You're meant to know inches or millimeters of exactly what that is, and that's an odd change from just this used to be about a pill.
Well, it was the pill word came about in 1884. So you've got, good 100 years for that standard, for that migration of the term happens by 1898. And then it's applied to journalism by 1901. And the newspapers that typified it by 1917. And so after that, then you can start to standardize the format. So, yeah.
Kind of stuff. It's great.
Crazy.
A little etymology moment on the show. Nothing wrong with that.
Thank you, Etym Online, the online etymological dictionary.
Not to be confused with entomology.
Right. When I looked this up on entomology, it said, I don't know, there's no bug called that.
Yeah.
It's a tabloid fly.
I don't have bugs here. That's funny.
We will be changing our quick hits to tabloid news.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there'll be no confusion.
They'll love it.
Everyone will be fine.
Yeah.
We just mean like in the 1800s.
When you're done, you can wrap your fish and chips in our podcast.
23 skidoo. Wait,
we could do all the sort of like online tabloid clickbaity things where it's like, can you tell which smartwatch this one has grown up into? And then it's just like a picture of the first Apple Watch.
Danger! This smartwatch
And it's
will
like
make
it's
you
like
dumb.
a 19 photo slideshow to get to the end.
Yes, I can tell. That was annoying.
Have they what was I gonna say? Oh, that watch you're gonna try, Sarah. Has it released yet? We got any?
It's on my wrist.
It's on your wrist.
Yeah, got it yesterday.
Oh, I totally want to know how that is.
It's funny. My first impression was like, oh my gosh, this is big. It's a lot. New thing on my body.
Mm-hmm.
But I slept with it on all night last night, and I really thought it was going to bother me. I mean, I loosened it up a little bit, because who cares? And it was totally fine. And the sleep data that I got back this morning was very positive.
Oh, that's good.
So I feel good about myself. Yeah,
you should.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was really tired last night, so I slept well. But the first thing I did this morning would go like, did you get any data? And sure enough, it had all sorts of, when I was in deep sleep and REM and stuff, which other platforms do as well. But
sure,
Fitbit does this very well.
Well, that's cool. I'm
Yeah.
literally reporting. I've been super curious about it and hadn't seen any reviews yet, and I forgot that you were not going from another watch. You're going straight in. You're heading in with like brand new wearable arm.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that actually it works. It works in the Versa 2's favor because we did get some feedback from people saying if you're iOS only, you really got to go with the Apple Watch, because you're going to all other watches miss out on the integration that the Apple Watch can provide. Right. And I'm sure that's true, but because I don't even really know how the Apple Watch works, quite honestly. Not from a personal,
sure.
on the trench.
Yeah, you haven't lived with it.
I haven't lived with it. So this is there. I mean, there are going to be some limitations, and I'm writing down all my notes and stuff. But yeah, it's cool. It's fun to be all nerdy about like, ooh, I should tell it that I just ate half a cup of blueberries. That'll somehow factor into my overall day.
Sure. I mean, I just wonder sometimes after a day's use of my watch, I realize that everything I use is almost all functionally available on what you're using there. Like the Apple Watch is, for me, I know a lot of people can use a lot of different stuff, but for me, it's notifications and fitness and kind of that's it. Once in a while, I lose my phone, and I like the Apple Watch's little button to have it beep, and I can go find my phone. I'll miss that, I guess, but I don't know. Obviously, you got to have it for longer, but I'm really curious how it ends up going for you.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, and again, this has been I've been wearing it for just over 24 hours, so
right.
Very much, knee-jerk impressions thus far, but I was really worried I wouldn't be able to sleep with it because the sleep data is like one of the most important things to me. And so
so when do you charge it? Because I always charge my watch overnight while I'm sleeping.
So there are a few ways that it wants to help you do that, and one of the ways is if you have Fitbit set up to help you keep a regular sleep schedule. Like if you're like, I wake up at 6:30 every morning and I really want to go for 8 hours of sleep. It'll be like, okay, well, you need to go to bed at 10:30, which means you need to be reminded to go to bed at about 10:15 kind of thing. So you can have it remind you to charge so that you charge with enough time so that you can wear it to bed and it doesn't disrupt your sleep.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Which is not something that I've set up, but that's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm genuinely curious. It's a price point that attracts me, and I also already like Fitbit for previous experiences. So I don't know. This is interesting, and the battery life is insane.
You know what else is insane?
Daily Tech News Show.
What?
It's a tabloid.
It's insane.
We've got all kinds of tabloidy bits. Little tiny bits of news. All right,
Big,
you guys ready?
Little. Yep.
I'm ready for sure.
Here we go. And 3, 2. Coming up on DTNS, Facebook wants to replace your phone with glasses, put a camera in your living room, and set up its court of appeals. What could go wrong? This is the Daily Tech News for Wednesday, September 18th, 2019 in Los Angeles. I'm Tom Merritt.
And from Studio Feline, I'm Sarah Lane.
From Salt Lake City, in the week of the Switch Lite release, I'm Scott Johnson.
And I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang.
You mean the tabloid switch, because it's
Yes, the
smaller,
tablet
like a small tablet of medicine.
Yeah, like a little tablet of medicine, and also a very small paper full of garbage reporting. Yes, that's right.
We were just talking about the etymology of the word tabloid. The answer may surprise you if you listen to Good Day Internet, which you can get by becoming a member at patreon.com/DTNS. Let's start with a few tech things you should know.
Comcast will now offer its Xfinity Flex set-top to existing internet-only customers for free. It was previously $5 per month. Xfinity Flex comes with most of the usual streaming apps like Netflix, HBO, Prime Video, ESPN3, YouTube, and Hulu is coming soon as well. Comcast customers will also get free access to NBC's new Peacock streaming service.
I still hate the name. Hey, Pocket Cast, speaking of things you can spend a little money on, Pocket Cast, the podcast app, for both Android and iOS, will now be free on mobile platforms with a premium service for 99 cents a month, or you can do $10 a year. They're calling it Pocket Cast Plus. The premium service includes access to desktop apps, exclusive app icons, and 10 gigabytes of cloud storage. Anyone who purchased the desktop app will get 3 years of Pocket Cast Plus for free. I think that's pretty generous. And Pocket Cast says more monetization features are on the way.
Although if you're a user of the web interface, there's some kvetching about the fact that you thought you were getting that forever, and now you only get it for 3 years. Google Assistant is launching new voices in 9 countries. That means an alternative to the default voice. So if you're in a country that speaks Dutch, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Korean, or Norwegian, you got a new voice to choose from. It's a non-gendered voice, by the way. English voices are also being launched in India and the UK. Separately, Amazon announced the launch of Hindi support in device software updates. Support for multilingual households is coming soon as well.
Reuters discovered through Freedom of Information requests that officials from Facebook met UK regulators 3 times prior to announcing the Libra cryptocurrency project. A meeting with a junior minister and officials in charge of cryptocurrency policy at Britain's finance ministry happened on April 23rd. A meeting with the UK's Financial Conduct Authority happened on April 24th. And Facebook met officials from the finance ministry, Bank of England, and FCA on May 14th.
And California Governor Gavin Newsom, just before we started the show, signed Bill AB 5 into law, changing the definition of who qualifies as a contract worker in the state of California. Remember, this applies not mostly, but it's been targeted at Uber and Lyft and the like. Uber has said it will push for new definitions, including a potential statewide ballot initiative. All right, let's talk about those Facebook glasses, Scott.
Let's do it. CNBC sources say Facebook is partnering with Ray-Ban, their parent company anyway, Luxottica, to bring augmented reality glasses to market.
Luxottica.
Did I say it wrong? Luxottica?
Luxottica.
You know what? When you're here, you're family. Anyway, they're going to bring these to market between 2023 and 2025, so don't get super excited yet. This is on its way. Anyway, the glasses, codenamed Orion, are reportedly being developed in Facebook Reality Labs in Redmond, Washington, and would handle making calls, displaying information, and streaming video from the glasses' point of view with a voice assistant for user input. Sound like a phone? Does to me. CNBC also reports Facebook is developing a ring with a motion sensor for input, codenamed Agios.
Yeah, if you take maybe Yagi is. If you take Facebook out of this, this sounds like an interesting take on a problem no one has solved yet. How do you make those glasses really catch on? And putting all of this sort of technology in here just makes me go, well, if it works well, maybe. You put Facebook in here, and suddenly it's like, who is going to really get behind putting Facebook glasses on your face and with the ability to live stream? I mean, we saw how crazy people went when Google Glass could do like tiny little live streams potentially. Imagine Facebook with high level streams to Facebook Live at Facebook Watch. That's crazy.
Well, and just the whole sort of augmented reality glasses, make them look cool, make them do things. Snap is trying to figure that out and has made some strides in that arena. Facebook owns Instagram, which has done very well at taking things that work for Snap and making it part of its own product. So Facebook working on something that we wouldn't even see really for another 3 to 4 years at the earliest. That could be, it could be a very different world for what we expect might take the place of everything that we do on a smartphone now, and also the fact that if a rival company does it well, then of course Facebook would want to try.
So this makes Snap feel good that they're doing glasses, since Facebook is.
Well, it makes them feel good until their user
working.
base goes to Instagram wearing their Facebook glasses. Descript announced a new version of its audio editor called Descript Podcast Studio that uses machine learning to let you edit a transcript in order to affect the audio. Delete a sentence from the transcript, and that sentence is then clipped from the audio. Kind of cool. A similar feature called Overdub lets you change words or phrases or even add new sentences using that same machine learning. Similar anyway. A user has to read a series of randomly generated sentences so that the software can figure out what they sound like and be able to replicate their voice. Descript Podcast Studio also supports simultaneous and collaborative multi-track editing with several changes synced in real time. It also offers transcription services that include humans assisted by AI for a fee. So Descript Podcast Studio is available now for Mac and Windows. It's free, and for $10 a month for video and free transcription, and $15 a month for multiple users.
Yeah, so
and
free
that's
video
priced
software.
lower than I thought it would be.
This is free video software where you can edit audio without having to listen so much faster. If you're like, I know exactly what I need to take out, and you can just look at a transcript, highlight it, delete it, boom, gone from the audio, and the edit is nice and clean because of the machine learning. That alone is incredibly compelling to me. Overdub could be incredibly scary, but they say they're doing a lot of things to make it hard to use this for deepfakes. So first of all, it's only meant to be used by the user. I just recorded something and I'm like, oh, you know what? I said that word wrong. I could just change it in the transcript. And because I've trained it, now I don't have to go re-record the entire thing. Okay, that could save me some time too. If you're editing multiple voices though, then it gets trickier because you have to have a person collaborating with you to have them train it in your session so that you can't just take anybody's voice and fake it.
I'm interested in this on a couple of levels. My biggest thing would be, I don't even think they intend me to use it for this, but I would like to use something like this for when I'm just trying to reduce silence gaps in final cuts of audio, and just audio in that regard. If there's a big chunk of part of an interview where we've just got bad lag over Skype, but I want to keep everything that was said, and rather than go back and do it the meticulous, slow way, nice to be able to identify those gaps and delete those.
Yeah, I wonder how those show up in the transcript. That's an interesting question.
Yeah, that kind of thing it would be.
Because the transcript seems to be made for taking out words, not taking out gaps. But it might work for that. I don't know.
Right. Maybe it treats negative space differently. But overall, though, I think it's a pretty neat idea. And I think there are podcasters at various levels, or people just in the world of trying to get audio in a format they need for a presentation or something. This would be hugely.
Oh, I can think of a great example. A few weeks ago when we were talking about Face App, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And we talked about it. It was just a big story over the course of a week. And I called it Facebook several times, and hated myself for it because I know the difference between the two. This would have been perfect for that instance.
Yeah. All right. HP announced the 2-in-1 13.3-inch Elite Dragonfly business laptop, and it does not look like a business laptop. This is a pretty laptop. Weighs less than a kilogram, 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, USB 3.1 Gen 1 port, HDMI, headphone jack, Wi-Fi 6 built in, option for LTE with 4x4 antennas if you want it. Sports Windows Hello facial recognition, has a fingerprint sensor on the palm rest, and comes with 8th Gen Intel Core U Series V Pro processors. You can configure it up to 16 gigabytes of dual-channel LPDDR3 RAM, up to 2 terabytes of NVMe solid-state storage, and there's an option for a 56 watt-hour battery. That will raise the weight of it above a kilogram, but it extends the battery life from 16 and a half hours to 24.5. The Dragonfly starts at $1,549 shipping in November. HP also announced a 43.4-inch 4K 60 hertz curved monitor called the S430C that can connect to 2 devices at once over USB-C, show the screens for each device side by side if they're running Windows, Mac OS, Linux, or Android, and enable file transfer between the 2 connected devices. The monitor has a pop-up infrared camera for facial recognition, 2 USB-C ports, so you can connect those 2 devices, 4 USB-A ports, along with HDMI, DisplayPort, and an audio jack. And the HP S430C monitor sells for $999 coming November 4th.
I want it.
I so want it too.
I don't want. I mean, the notebook seems neat. Don't get me wrong. That thing seems awesome. If you're looking for a nice monster notebook that does tons of things, hey, it looks like they got you covered, especially if you like HP as a brand. But that monitor is very, very tempting to me. And it's because I work in that kind of multi-OS environment, and I do it in real time every day with streaming combined with audio production combined with art stuff. Like, it's all happening at once with Windows and Mac in my case. It would be a great thing, and I would be spending the same amount of money that it would cost me to buy Apple's stand for their next display, not even the display, just the stand that comes optional. So it's really tempting for, somebody in the semi-pro / pro market looking for a good solution for that sort of thing.
I couldn't find anything that clarifies if it works as a KVM for my laptop and for my keyboard and mouse, which I can work around with my own KVM, but man, it would be super slick if you didn't even have to push a button and you still got both devices up on the screen. Yeah. You could just move the mouse from one to the other, which Synergy can do. So yeah, there's all kinds of.
It's such a no-brainer for multiple operating systems, right? And a single display. But also, if you're just doing a lot of power-intensive stuff and you just want to look at it in one place, you got 2 Mac Minis, for example, which is something I'm probably going to get at some point. Then having the single monitor, and I think in this case, the curve makes a lot of sense, right? Because it is huge, so it'll be, somewhat not immersive, but it'll give you a little bit more of that feeling of, okay, I've got this all under control. This is all within my vision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And the file transfer thing, I don't want to give short shrift to, because one of the problems I'm having right now is Windows networking and Mac OS, Mac OS networking are notoriously kind of finicky sometimes with each other. You just have problems now and again. And so for me to move files back and forth, that's either working or it's not. And if it's not, I'm USBing from one place to the other on a stick or something, which is super inconvenient and lame. And Synergy doesn't support just drag and drop file transfer, which I wish it would. And I know there are other solutions. I could get Chrome doing it. There's a lot of other ideas, but to be able to do that through a hardware USB-C based solution is, I'm probably going to get this monitor is what I'm saying. I think
we're all 3 going to have this monitor.
Oh,
yeah. Cool.
I don't need it, but
I want
it. It will make my life better.
I kind of need it. We need it, right? We need it.
Yeah.
Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com if you think we need it. I think we need it.
Let's live with it, all of us. At an event in Shenzhen Tuesday, Oppo announced its Reno Ace will come with the ability to charge its 4,000 milliamp battery in 30 minutes. Oppo says it used gallium nitride semiconductors to improve efficiency while reducing the size of the 65-watt power adapter. Oppo also announced a 30-watt wireless charging that can charge a 4,000 milliamp battery in 80 minutes, all without wires. The Oppo Reno Ace is due in Asia on October 10th.
Yeah, they had some fast charging for some of their other models as well. This is crazy. 30 minutes to charge up a battery that size and then run for 16 hours or whatever that 4,000 milliamp hour battery is going to give you. That's just insane. I mean, that's a big old power adapter, and they had to do some stuff to keep it safe, and they detailed a lot of that as well. But even the 30-watt wireless charging at 80 minutes ain't bad. I mean,
No.
it takes a couple hours, for more than a couple hours, for me to wirelessly recharge a phone usually.
It's fun to watch. Battery innovation is kind of stalled in terms of capacity. The more battery you put in, obviously, the more capacity you have, and that's how some of these phones and things have gotten around it. But it's nice to see the innovation coming from other directions, be that power efficiency, being that charge times. Like, I'll gladly trade that we're sort of, I don't know, it feels old school the way we do batteries now, but I'll trade that for faster charging, for smarter.
Yeah, it is. It is. You know what? Now that you point that out, it's really sad that the innovation in batteries is coming at the chip side for power efficiency and the charger side for speed of charging, not in the batteries. We're so like desperate for some kind of battery innovation, and there's lots of possibilities, but nothing on the horizon that I've heard about.
Right.
Well, folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, there's one place to do it. Go subscribe to dailytechheadlines.com. Let's get back into it with Facebook announcing 2 different things. We'll start with the one that is something you can buy and put in your hands, the Portal TV. Portal TV connects to your television using HDMI. It includes a camera for making video calls to other Portal TV users, as well as WhatsApp video calls. AI focuses on individuals. This is something that all the portals have done from Facebook. So it can focus on the person who's talking, so it keeps them in view. It has a nice 120-degree wide angle, but it's not showing that wide angle all the time. It can follow kids around the room, stuff like that. Also has apps. So obviously Facebook and Messenger, but also Amazon Prime Video, Stars, Pluto TV, Pandora, iHeartRadio, CNN, ABC News, Spotify. Doesn't have Netflix and Hulu, though, so this is not a replacement for a Roku, but it is trying to give you some cool stuff when you hook it up to your TV. It's also not a speaker, has a really tinny built-in speaker, so you can at least hear responses from the voice assistant when the television is not on, but most of the time it's just going to use your television speakers. And it can be used as a smart speaker, including with Amazon Voice Assistant. During setup, the portals will all now offer users a chance to opt out of having your recordings of voice commands stored on Facebook servers. Meanwhile, Facebook told Bloomberg that contractors will now resume reviewing a small percentage of portal voice commands. So now that they've given you a chance to opt out, they're resuming that QA. Portal TV costs $149, available November 5th. Facebook also announced an 8-inch Portal Mini. That's a smaller version of the 10-inch, and a refreshed 10-inch Portal. The 8-inch and 10-inch portals, the new form factor allows you to turn them on their end, so it looks kind of like a digital picture frame. The 8-inch is $129. The 10-inch is $179, and they're both available October 15th. So who wants a Facebook camera in their living room?
Not me. But it's not really because I'm like, oh, that Facebook is going to ruin my life somehow. They're going to know everything I do. But it sort of echoes what we said earlier in the show when we were talking about Facebook's possible AR glasses initiative, right? It's like if it was a company besides Facebook, you'd go, okay, this is interesting. A little bit more video chatting. This is something that we know a lot of folks do. WhatsApp users alone. I mean, it's a huge, huge number of folks who do video chatting on WhatsApp. Okay, that makes sense. But the Facebook part of it, it's hard not to take a little pause.
I mean, I have a similar feeling, but mine is mostly based on they're not really offering me something that I'm already getting from a device that has more options, at least currently. I mean, if this thing really took off and sold tons, and I think Netflix and Hulu and others would be compelled to offer services there. But if you're looking at this just as a smart speaker, like an alternative to buying an Echo, that maybe has some of these other features that you want, I think this is okay. I mean, if in that market, this is an all right solution for that in my mind.
I actually don't think the Facebook creepiness will hurt this as much as the fact that it's late to the market and not compelling. Convenience trumps fidelity, and people who have an ability to talk to their grandkids with the phone in their hand may not see the point in going and buying a device to do this, especially if it doesn't do all the things that the Roku does. So why wouldn't I just get a Roku and keep talking to my kids through the phone in my hand, on that video? The other side of this is Amazon and Google have a big head start on the voice assistant display market. People are going to likely be like, well, maybe I should get an Amazon Echo Show because I'm already in the Amazon with the Echo, or same thing. I've already got a Google Home. Why don't I get one of the Google Home displays, the Nest displays? So it's going to be hard for Facebook to really make a move in here. I think it's less about people being creeped out by Facebook, because we've seen that people being creeped out for Facebook doesn't stop them using Facebook. It's just that I don't know that this product will compete.
Yeah. Well, I also thought they were going to push harder to make VR more of a Facebook experience, and they didn't really do that. Rift and
not yet. No,
they haven't yet. And there's always, the potential of something in the future. But with the exception of a little thing here or there within the service, there hasn't really been anything that made you go, oh my gosh, I cannot be in this ecosystem of Facebook inside of this VR set. So maybe this is the other way they'll do that. Maybe this is the less obtrusive, more, this is our platform. If you really like us and you really like Facebook content, hey, come buy our little thing. And here's a smart speaker. And I don't know. I still say the smart speaker people are going to be the ones that may want it, but I don't know why they just wouldn't want an Echo to start with. So
yeah. Well, or they already have a smart speaker and they'll stay in that ecosystem, right?
Yeah, wherever it is.
Now, we keep talking about the fact that a lot of people are creeped out by Facebook, and Facebook wants to do something about part of that, a small section of it anyway, which is Facebook censors speech. Facebook takes down things that are of interest to me, and it's unfair. Facebook is unfair to people who I agree with. Well, Facebook announced more details on its independent oversight board, which is designed to handle content moderation disputes. This is a board of at least 11 people at launch. They want to grow it to as many as 40. Facebook will name the members. They'll let you know publicly who they are and why. So it's going to have to pass the court of public opinion, but they can name whoever they want. Deliberations of the board will be public. So you'll be able to see how people come to the decisions they do about these content moderation appeals. Now, private information will not be part of that transparency. They will protect private information in these disputes, but otherwise you'll get to see the deliberations. Members of the board will be paid, but not by Facebook. Facebook is setting aside money in a trust that will independently fund the members. And once all normal Facebook moderation layers have been used is when Facebook will decide to submit a case to the board. So again, it's going to be the court of public opinion that decides whether to force Facebook to submit it to their own independent board or not. And then once the board hears the submission, they can decide not to hear it. Now that's not up to Facebook. That's up to this independent board. Facebook says they imagine this board would hear about 12 cases a year that they think are precedent setting. So they really are thinking of it kind of like a high court, like a Supreme Court. Users would make their case in written statements, though board members can decide to ask for face-to-face interactions. Facebook will consider the board's decisions binding unless the decision is not technically feasible. And that, you may say, well, it sounds like an out. They'll just call everything technically infeasible, but it's actually pretty nailed down in the language to be like, if we can't technologically do it, obviously we're not going to do it. Facebook also will be opening the trust for other networks to join in the future. So there's a little hint that they kind of want to make this an industry-wide court of appeals. But at this point, it's really a Facebook-run operation. It's very different from Libra in that case, where Libra has a board of people that Facebook is just one member of overseeing it. This is a board of people all picked by Facebook.
Interesting.
Yeah, hard to call it an independent oversight board when it's structured this way. And I think some folks will take issue with that, and maybe take issue with the fire engine outside my house right now. But that members not being paid by Facebook directly, but from a trust, which comes from Facebook money, that kind of weirded me out at first. But I guess it's true, Tom, that once the money is there, then it's out of Facebook's hands.
Yeah, the whole idea of a trust is that separates Facebook from being able to affect that money.
Right.
Yeah, they can't turn it or do whatever they're going to do to it. But I kind of like this concept. I think, at least in theory, I'm very curious, and say they're going to be public about it, whether that's public about the results or public about the actual deliberations. I hope it's the former, or the latter rather, because I want to watch this like C-SPAN. I want to see a precedent-setting issue like what constitutes porn on the site, what doesn't, what constitutes hate speech, like whatever it is, the precedent-setting cases that they're going to cover. I would love it to be like cameras in the Supreme Court and listen to how they do that stuff. That to me is an interesting process. So as much as it's easy for me to want to look at the broader idea and just go and make a judgment on it, what I really want to do is see it in action and understand the kind of thinking that goes on, how people go back and forth. If there's division, where's the division? If there's a vote, if you're just one guy off, does that mean, is it just like the Supreme Court? Is it a 5-4 decision? Like, all of that stuff's really interesting to me, and I want to know what the decorum of that is. Like, I hope they do that. I hope we stream it on Facebook Live, and I hope I get to watch it.
And who, the members that that Facebook names, you mentioned watching something kind of unfold the way that you would on C-SPAN. Who are these members? Are they members of the community that are representing various different groups, right? Sociological and racial and whatever. Are they people who work in tech that are sort of big names? Does this become something that the public becomes a lot more interested in? Because that could be a really good thing. Whether or not the rest of us have a say in it, to kind of to pump up the discourse in general, especially when you're talking about content moderation disputes and this sort of thing that happen on Facebook all the time and really tend to upset people. It's kind of it's an interesting move for the company. I don't know if the way that they structured it is the right way, but it seems like they're making a pretty good effort.
I mean, yeah, it's not as good as Libra as far as its independence, in my opinion, for two reasons. One is Facebook decides what to submit to it, and there's going to be a case at some point where they don't submit it, and people are going to go, why didn't you submit it? And even if they bow to public pressure and submit it, people are going to go, see, they delayed submitting it. And that will erode faith in the system. And then the other thing is they choose the board members. So, I mean, they can choose the best, most balanced, equanimical board ever. As soon as this decision goes against someone, that someone will say, well, obviously this board was stacked against us by Facebook because Facebook picked them. It won't matter who's on the board. And then there will be all this like parsing of, the balance of the board and where the interests are and lobbying of those board members and trying to get board members kicked off by finding horrible things in their background and then seeing who Facebook will come up with to replace them. I mean, there needs to be a better way to select the members. Yeah, very much like.
Well, thanks everybody who participates in our subreddit. You are our Supreme Court of sorts. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Facebook, you're our Facebook group. You're our other Supreme Court. Facebook.com/group/dailytechnewsshow to join if you haven't already.
We like to hear from you through the electronic mail. We're old-fashioned that way. Who'd we get a mail from today?
Well, we did get a picture of a cat because I suggested that you send in photos of your family members. So thank you for that. But we also got an email from Chad. And this was in reference to Tom's comparison of TV shows to books yesterday, saying we can't get to them all. There's just too many of them. And Chad says, I think the difference is that I have the ability to read any book that I can think of with some exceptions. If my local library doesn't have a new book, then I can order it from any number of places. There are very few new books that are denied to me. With produced content, though, we're seeing the opposite. It's being walled off left and right so that the only way to get it is to subscribe to a producer, a publisher, distributors. That's all you can eat buffet. So Star Trek Discovery, great example of this. I already subscribed to Netflix, Amazon, BBC, and Hulu. I pick up shows that don't show up on these 4 streaming sites by purchasing them a la carte from Amazon, usually. But Star Trek Discovery, I had only one option to watch that show, subscribe to yet another streaming service. Chad says, I believe this is where subscription fatigue's coming in. For people like me, I don't want to watch everything. I just want to watch what I want to watch. But the currently fragmented market doesn't give me the option. And instead, to watch what I want to watch, I'm forced to subscribe to 15 different services. Chad says we're closer than we've ever been, but the fragmenting of the market with all these streaming services is setting us back for years in the fight for true cord independence.
Yeah, Chad and I had a nice little email back and forth about this, and I pointed out that it's not the opposite. It's actually better than books, because when you pay $26 for a hardback book, you get that book. But when you pay $6.99 for Disney Plus, you get all those movies and all those TV shows. And even if you only want The Mandalorian, you still have access to all that other stuff. Maybe there's something else in there you'll discover and like or want to watch. So to me, it's a little bit of a false problem, because it's like, well, you can still pay to get your thing. You're just mad that you're also getting more because you feel like you're paying for all of it, but you can still just pay to get that one thing.
Right.
And that's
You
like
haven't
paying
been
for
denied the
Right.
subscription service.
That's like paying for the hardback instead of waiting for the paperback, which is cheaper. I also pointed out that all of these shows end up for sale at some point. Now, Chad pointed out, he's like, yeah, but Star Trek Discovery, Game of Thrones, they delay selling those till sometimes long after the series is over. I'm like, yeah, that's a fair point. And what Chad and I agreed with in our email exchange was there is not a good equivalence for libraries. So a library means you don't have to pay for books and you can read them. But with TV and movies, you can check movies and TV shows out of the library, and there's even like cool digital services like Hoopla, but the selection is just not comparable. So I think that library access is the one place where this analogy falls down for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I also, I mean, you've convinced me more than anybody, Tom, over time that we have actually more control in this equation than we've ever had.
Yeah.
Because it used to be that if I didn't want your channel, it didn't matter. It was part of my 2-year commitment, and I just had to get your dumb channel on cable, and I still had to pay the same amount of money. But now, if I'm like, well, there's only one show I care about on Netflix, and I've just seen it all, and there's not a new season until next year or 2 years later, time to switch to one where there's something else I want to watch. You have full control. You're not locked into anything. You just leave and come back at will. And that is a huge thing. It's just hard to remember that because it does feel like, oh, they're all doing it now. Now it's like cable again. Not really.
Yeah. There's a little bit of these shows or movies are all horrible and I have to pay so much to get them.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a bit of that going on.
Well, thanks, Chad, for the email. Also, the cat's name was Buster. Thank you to
Aw,
Mikey for sending in the photo of Buster. It always makes my day a little bit brighter. And also, thanks to Scott Johnson. Talk about a bright day maker. What have you been doing since you made our day bright 1 week ago today?
Well, from a tech point of view, a couple of things are going on for me. One is I'm going to figure out how to make a GoPro 5 look amazing on stream. Once I've done that, I'll talk about it on the show and tell you how I did it. So later today, that's happening, and I'm very excited about it. And I'll probably chronicle it on my website as well, which is over at frogpants.com. More importantly, though, I have a web page up for this card game I keep talking about on here. And now you can see it. It's an actual physical look at the cards. You can see the whole thing. The rules aren't up there yet. There's a bunch of stuff I still want to add. But if you want to go check it out, you can go to frogpants.com/rockrunners, or it's just right there on the menu. Just find it and check it out and let me know what you think. We're very excited about it. Kickstarter coming soon. For details and updates, check me out on Twitter at Scott Johnson.
We are changing our Patreon rewards for DTNS starting October 1st. So this is the last month to get classic rewards. I thought I'd try that aspect on it. But yeah, if you want to see what the new rewards are that are coming starting October 1st, that means they'll be delivered on November 1st. So we will make them official on October 1st. But if you want to know what's coming, head to dailytechnewsshow.com/Patreon.
Email is a great way to send us feedback. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com is the address. We're also live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. That's 2030 UTC. Find out more. dailytechnewsshow.com/live.
Back tomorrow with Justin Robert Young. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Woohoo! Woohoo! So we aggregated all the Facebook news in one day for you this week. I hope you appreciate that.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, it's a tabloid of Facebook news.
I see.
A compressed pill that you had to swallow today.
Not a standard size for paper.
Yeah. Hey, we got some great title suggestions over there at the dtns.showbot.tv. If you're watching or listening to this later, you already know what the title is, but do you know who submitted it? When you're here, your family was submitted as a good one. We also have who wants a Facebook camera in their living room? Except I think on text it reads as who wants a Facebook camera in their living room?
The answer is nobody.
The answer may surprise you. We have monitor envy, hashtag portal to TV, hashtag TV portal, which is great because it's playing on Justin's hashtag portal to hell. That one works really well, actually. I like that one. Facebook sets up trust to gain trust. That's good.
That's pretty good. That's a smart one.
Yeah.
I like it.
Facebook's portal into your business. Facebook can follow you around the room. Facebook Star Chamber plays to my Anglo history thing. Social Network Justice Court.
Oh, it's not bad.
I don't know. What do y'all like?
I like that Facebook one that was clever. Now I can't remember. It was so clever.
Which clever one?
But now I don't remember which one it was.
The one about trust?
Yes, I think.
Facebook sets up trust to gain trust?
That's it. That's the
That's the one?
That's the one I like, but I don't want to speak for everyone.
Speak or
I like
forever
it.
hold your
Yeah,
peace.
I'm trying to. You could also call it Facebook's Trust for Trust.
We'll
It's
let Roger will give you that option.
Wait.
You want me
Yeah,
to
I mean,
paste?
no need.
You're
no
in
need
the. I was about to paste it into the title field for you.
Was
There
it
we go.
was Facebook trust to gain trust?
There,
Yeah.
I put it in the doc for you.
Makes it. All right.
And then for Good Day, Facebook sets up trust to gain trust from Fluffy Damager. Well, thank you, Fluffy Damager. And then Good Day Internet, gdi.showbot.tv.
Warning: your dog is cantering. Sometimes it's been a while since we talked on GDI pre-show, and so I read these like, this is funny. Oh yeah,
I
we
know.
said that.
All the best hindsight comes in 2020. That's another good one.
It's not bad.
That's good.
Yeah, we could do warning. Your dog is cantering. That's good. Zoe brings bacon, bringing the headline for Good Day.
Bringing the heads.
That's what she'll do.
So wait.
Find her in the club.
Open the club.
Wait.
So wait, what, Roger?
So warning, your dog is cantering.
Cantering.
Yeah, it's the one at the top
Okay.
from Zoe brings bacon.
Warning! Exclamation! Your dog is cantering! Exclamation!
Alert! Alert!
Alert! Alert! It's good stuff. Otis is a real canterer. Well, he's a galloper too, but I mean he's horse-like.
Mm-hmm.
So
By the way,
sort-
Gerald GW just subscribed to Twitch Prime for 3 months now. 3-month streak. Look at that.
Good streak.
That's why
a
they
good
call him
streak.
the streak.
Mm-hmm.
what did we say that was? 6 fortnights?
That's right.
Good times.
It's 2 weeks to a fortnight. So yeah,
Yep.
it's a lot of fortnights.
My math is pretty good.
That's 6 instances of Fortnite running.
It's a lot of Fortnite.
Yeah.
You're
Hard on
gonna,
your
need that,
processor.
you're gonna need that big HP monitor too.
Yeah, you are. Oh man, I wish it was November 4th. This is probably the most excited about a device I've gotten this year, to be honest.
This is
It's the
this is
freaking
something that
monitor.
you're getting. That it sounds like.
I think I'm gonna too. I can justify it because
I feel like I
It'd be
can't.
infinitely
I just
useful.
want it.
it'll be stupid useful. Like I will totally use that thing constantly. I'm thinking of my day and I'm like, there's at least 50 occasions during my average day where I would use that split screen stuff and the file transfer
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean, I bought this monitor in 2013.
Yeah.
So that's a 6-year-old monitor. That's not ancient, but you know, it's not like I just got it. It could be time. It could be time for a replacement.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the main thing for me, I guess I kind of do want to see some reviews because you hope that the actual display is good.
That's the thing, right? There was an LG monitor that did a similar thing,
Mhm.
but it was a little bit smaller, but did the two devices up at the same time. So I
Yeah.
kind of want to go back and look at that one and find out, like, okay, what is, because I don't think it was able to do the file sharing. I think that's the big advance of HP. So I want to find out if there's anything else and if that LG monitor is now cheaper.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing is LG has a huge rep with me for being great displays, but I don't really think of HP much for displays. So that's
Well, the HP is the display I'm using right now, and it's lasted 6 years and been great. So
well, then see, that's probably not a problem. I just, it's funny, you get brand loyalties that you don't even know where they came from, and in my LG case, I've come to trust them, but I don't really have any special reason to. They just, been good. So I don't know. I have two
yeah,
of
the
those.
LG ultra wide monitor
Ultra.
it's like $589.
Oh, that's considerably less than 1,000.
Yeah. So
It's
wait,
almost a little over $400.
But is this the same? Is this the one that can show two different? That's
That's the key.
yeah.
two-faced monitor?
The P&P, they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Picture in picture,
Pip.
PIP. That's right.
I'm
Yo,
a
Pippy.
P&P
You gotta
picture
get that
next to
PIP,
picture.
yo.
USB Type-C ports allow 4K video display, data transfer, and device charging, all at the same time over a single cable. That's just describing what USB-C does.
But it's small, right? It's a smaller device or smaller display. Smaller screen, I should say.
Display multiple windows at once. Yeah. A screen split. Customize your monitor layout for multitasking. Not exactly what I'm looking for. This is a 43-inch monitor, too.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty big.
I look at a 28-inch monitor, and it's huge.
Pretty big.
It's big.
I'm on
something that is almost twice as wide is like crazy big.
Oh,
and
Kippo30
fun,
just subscribed.
But that's a lot.
Thank you, Kippo30.
This one's a 32.
Thanks, Kippo30.
My PC one is a 42. They're nice monitors, but that functionality just sounds so good to me.
Your PC monitor is 42 inches?
Yeah.
Dang.
Gamer stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, now
Gamer.
maybe I do need this monitor.
Live with that
Fine.
life.
I thought I was like all cool.
I mean, I wish that one would just do what we're talking about, but it won't. I think it has to be the ultra wide ones, right? The ultra wides.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't love ultra wide. The 20.
You have to download LG's dual controller software to the devices. I wonder if that causes any issues.
Sounds like a thing.
Oh, but dual controller can be used with HDMI DisplayPort or Thunderbolt, just as long as at least one of the computers is connected by HDMI.
HDMI, you sure?
Actually, I have DisplayPort on both, but this is. Now I'm conundrumed. I have to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to look up some reviews.
Same.
Because the HP one definitely caught my eye today because of the file sharing, but and the devil's in the details, right? Does the HP one work without a whole lot of configuring? Then that's got the upper hand for me.
Right. If some of that's just happening native to USB-C, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
in other words, can it tell like, oh, I have two devices in the monitor without me having to run a device driver?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
And my least favorite thing about LG is their software drivers are all very janky. I don't like
software drivers are janky and their support is not ideal.
No. Nice displays, poopy support.
Eileen really wants to get these LG washer dryers because they look super cool and you can control them with an app. And I'm like, yeah, but LG's support's really crappy if it breaks.
Also, actually, I have LG washer dryers. They work really well. But like,
you haven't had any problems with them? Yeah.
No, but I've only lived here for a year. And I mean, I didn't buy them new. I don't know how much wear and tear they had before I got to them, but they seem pretty new. They're great. But
this is where
the good looking part of it is probably you're gonna get over that in 2 days.
We have a lot of aesthetics that are the same, but there's a certain point where I'm like, you know what? I don't care if the Kenmore looks that bad. It's so reliable. And Eileen will be like, yeah, but it's so ugly. And then we have to like figure it out.
I mean, your washer and dryer aren't on display in the living room.
No, they're on display in the laundry room.
So like the ugly factor is like,
I think I don't want to speak for Eileen, but I think she would say, yeah, but I have to look at it.
Yeah, I get it.
There's something to that.
Fair point.
I do. Well, I don't know if you're looking at the same models that I have, but they do have a lot of bells and whistles, and they play cool songs.
Yeah,
they're fun. They're fun to use.
They make laundry time fun.
They kind of do.
You want to be careful.
They kind of do.
Like we're washer dryer, especially with dryers, because they tend to vibrate a lot more than your washing machine sometimes. But they exude a lot of heat. So I purposely avoided any digital computer-operated dryer because what happens is
when they short out.
Well, the board that they sit on gets constantly exposed to heat and then heat and cooling. So after like 4 or 5 years, the boards will start cracking. And then they charge.
How old are the ones in your apartment, do you think, Sarah?
I mean, they for sure were not brand new when I moved in because I could just see little scratches and stuff. But I mean, I don't know. They're within 5 years old. Maybe newer. I don't know. They look really new.
You can always check
probably
up on
not
the model number.
to the age that you're talking about, Roger. So hers, I was wondering if hers were 4 or 5 years, if it'd be like, oh, well, it sounds like they've been doing okay.
Yeah, nice.
But maybe not.
That was the one thing I think
know,
an
maybe
appliance
they're-
salesman told me. It's like, don't buy the matching pairs. Like, we
Why?
make more money on it because the matching pairs, typically the dryer is going to be a lot more expensive for something you can pay like 400, like maybe.
See, that's where the what does it look like would come
Yeah.
in for me. Because I want them to at least match, even if they're ugly.
Like mine look totally different. One's just a giant white square, and the other one's a front loader from Maytag. It's like, as
I
long
think
as
that's
it
what I've
works.
got too. I have two different kinds. They look okay together, but they are separate. I think it's because they used to be a pair, and one of them pooped the bed, so we were like, well, we're not buying a new pair.
Yeah.
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 I didn't even know washers and dryers could poop. Get out of here.
In your bed? That's so rude.
Yeah, it's horrible. I
No,
didn't
they
even
get
poop
in
on your
there.
sheets, so
Poop,
they come out
but-
dirty.
Yeah.
It's
The opposite of what you're supposed to do.
it's exactly right. Yeah, I would. I really like Samsung. They've been good for us. Weirdly,
I buy like I hate to say that I've bought into the PR ad campaign, but Maytags have worked pretty well for me. I avoid the ones when Whirlpool bought Maytag. There were a couple of Whirlpool models that they just rebranded as Maytag. And I spent a lot of time trying to filter those out when I made my selection. Oh, it's like buying a car.
you just really liked Gordon Jump back in the day, and so when he was repping for them, you were stoked.
Well,
about
my
it.
dad
Totally.
had a
Yeah.
washing machine he bought the year right before I was born, and it still runs.
Yeah, they last forever. They're known for that. Ish.
And the stories it could tell of all the vomit stains and bloody noses it had to clean up.
Please don't tell us that story.
Well, it was that one time Roger ate too many grapes because he really liked grapes and decided to eat a bowl the size of his head in a single sitting. And they
Oh my-
all came back out an hour later.
Grapes?
Yep.
That sounds awful.
That's not like. Are you allergic to grapes or something?
No, I just ate a lot
Sounds
of
like a
grapes.
really
Overdid
bad
it.
reaction.
Ate
I
too
would think
many-
like
No, so
mild
if
tummy ache or something.
If you eat a lot, one of your first reactions your body does is to upchuck it back out.
Not for me.
Especially when you're younger. I say if now these days I could overdo it, and that just means I'm going to sit on the couch for about 10 hours and not move. I don't ever barf anymore.
No, I mean, I'm sure it's possible, but I'm like, I'll just feel crappy for a while.
But
I
now
haven't-
with grapes, it would
that's-
just feel full.
I love grapes.
Grapes are amazing. I don't know why they turn them into wine. Just let me eat them.
Well, I mean, I think that's why they make wine.
Sarah, I'll let you take this one.
Well, Roger, when you reach a certain age and you need to relax a little bit,
You want grapes, and you also want to forget.
I think that wraps it up.
Yep.
Right there. That's the
That's a
answer.
pretty good job of clearing it up.
Yeah. Why would you even make wine? Well, double duty. You know?
Yep.
I have an
What
awesome-
about grape jelly? Do you have a problem with grape jelly?
I
Roger?
generally don't get jelly. I get jam.
Okay, but do you have a problem? You're avoiding the question. Do you have a problem with turning
Well,
grapes
no,
into jam?
I don't eat jelly. I'll eat jam. Jelly is a
But-
very
Okay,
But-
but
but-
do you have a problem with turning grapes into jam? My question is, what about other things that you turn grapes into? Do you like those?
I like raisins.
Besides wine.
I like raisins. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's totally okay. It's
So
healthy.
so jam is okay. Raisins are okay.
I've never had grape jam. I've never seen grape jam.
Really?
Yeah, you
What?
can make it into jelly because jelly is fruit juice that you add pectin into and let it solidify.
Oh yeah, there's grape
jelly,
jam.
you actually need to
You've-
have
you've been-
I
pieces.
don't know that I've
denying
had
yourself.
grape jam.
I've
I'm sure
also
I
had-
have,
you
but
need
I
to have
can't really think
pieces.
of when it would be.
And then when you have a preserve, it's the actual entire fruit. That's part of it. of the
I'm with
thing.
Tom. I've had both the jam and the jelly, and I think the big difference was maybe the kind of grape,
Mm-hmm.
special kind of
Special
purple.
Concord kind.
Yeah.
It's usually Concord is made into jam, and my grandma used to make Concord grape jam, so that's probably why.
Or as I like to call it, Concord jam.
But you can buy it.
Okay,
off
so
the
I'm
store
glad you said that,
shelves.
Roger, because when Tom said Concord, I was like, I wonder if this is a regional thing because someone I know who grew up in Illinois, actually, but like Chicago area,
But not Tom.
was talking. It wasn't Tom. No, it was a female, totally different person. Was talking about some like little private airport in the East Bay, and I was like, where? And she was like, Concord. And I was like, because we were talking about airplanes, I was like, I don't know where that is. And then later somebody said it, and I was like, oh, Concord. And she was like, what did I say?
You know, it's funny.
It's totally different.
I say Concord when I'm talking about Concord, California, but I'd say Concord when I talk about grapes, because in my mind, that's how you say the grape.
That's how you say it. Huh,
Yeah.
Interesting.
But that's because I learned how to say Concord grape growing up in Illinois, and I learned how to say Concord, California when I was in California. So,
and it was such a like throwaway thing where I was like, sorry, I wasn't meaning to like say that you said it wrong. You didn't say it wrong.
How do you say the airplane?
Concord.
The jet. Yeah.
Because there's an E.
Like the grape.
Okay.
Like the
okay.
grape.
Interesting. Like the grape.
Yeah.
But yeah, Smucker's makes Concord grape jam.
Smucker's.
And Welch's does too. And yeah, so you can get yourself some grape jam.
I will get
Roger.
some grape jam, and I'll get back to
Report
you.
back if you like it.
Tom, I vomited
enough
this
to
all
turn
up
your
my stomach.
beloved grapes into jam.
No, Roger, eat too many of them and then tell us how it
Yes.
Eat several jars of Concord
Tom,
grape jam.
I've gained,
Yeah.
You will
I've
make
gained
you
40 pounds.
physically ill.
Shotgun it back.
And then
Also, I
just let
think
us
I'm
know.
hyperglycemic.
You will be after this.
If you're not now, you will be.
Well, thank you everyone for hanging out with us today. We super appreciate it. And if you have a chance to persuade someone in your life to join in on the Good Day Internet fun, please let them know where to find it, either twitch.tv/gooddayinternet, or of course the best way to get it through patreon.com/DTNS. And have a good day.
Have a good
Good day, Internet.
Good day.